Are we saying goodbye to the United States as we known it? None of us could ever have envisioned what we're seeing and hearing with our own eyes and ears in today's time. No, I'm not going to talk about sports today because there's just some things I feel just want to get off my chest a little bit because I know it's affecting you too. Hi, my name's Robert Wilkins, aka Basketball Tall, and I'm here today to discuss something everybody around the country is talking about. People are in fear. We're seeing things develop, and none of us know how to deal with that. And we have a new president now. Donald J. Trump is back in office, and he's doing some of the things that he said he was going to do, such as the border. And hey, I've always supported, strengthening our border. I've always been for that. But what about grocery prices? What about gasoline? Those things that what he ran on and what people voted for, we are seeing a different turn. How do you feel about that? Are you concerned about that at all? See, I grew up in an era in the 1960s when civil rights, well, basically didn't have any civil rights if you look like me. And to see the transformation of this country, to see that the United States became something that it never was. But also, we got to see some things that none of us liked, and a lot of social issues. And somehow, it seems like a lot of things got tagged in with civil rights issues that I've always felt, hey, why is it that being black, everything seems to have to ride on black issues? But I'm not talking about black and white here today, guys. But then again, some of you probably feel that way because we're seeing what's going on. So we've got some sad times in the USA right now. We're seeing deportation go into effect. Just today, a couple of military planes would not be allowed to land in Colombia. Their president stood up and did not want them to land there to drop off those that were picked up in this country illegally. So, in other words, transporting them back to wherever they may have come from. But the thing is, he's doing what he said he was going to do. But no one saw the oligarchy coming into play. That was a new one that got thrown on us. Elon Musk and all the billionaires and everything. None of us saw that coming. And how are we dealing with that? It seemed like everything that's happened like a playbook out of Russia. We are the United States, baby. We shouldn't be duplicating ourselves like some other country. We're run by the Constitution. But we're seeing a lot of executive orders being issued, and it has a lot of us concerned. Not just me. We're talking millions of people. And matter of fact, a lot of people that even voted for our president have concerns. But we're also seeing people seem to be lacking courage as they did in days of old. Everybody just going along just to get along. But meanwhile, we see something coming down the pipe, and I don't know how you feel about it, but for old young kid in the elementary and coming up in the 60s during those eras when people didn't have certain rights, and then go into the 1970s and see the great migration where blacks started going to white schools and the integration, the sports and all of that. And we got better. We did. We got better for it. But then lately, something started sneaking in on the back of a lot of things. There were some social issues. And I must say this 99% of the people that I know don't agree with some of these social issues. But everyone remains quiet. And meanwhile, it gets pushed until a point where some people just had enough of it and even voted against their own interests because of it. But I'm concerned, and I know a lot of you are too, and to see the direction in which we're going because we know that recently over 1,500 people were, oh, what's the word? I can't think of the word right now, but it's a very common word. We all know what we're talking about, where they've got released from prison and so forth. And I'm an ex-cop. I wear the blue. Even though I'm retired now, I was digging into my box the other day and look what I found. One of my old badges. So back in the blue, wanna know how I feel about that? I don't see it. There's no back in the blue here. And a lot of people are concerned, a lot of people afraid and not knowing what's coming next. But one thing we do know and we hear and see because it comes from our president's own mouth, threatening our allies, threatening Canada, Mexico, Panama, and Greenland, which is under Denmark. And guess what, folks? They're all on high alert. They're even building up their military. You can look all this stuff up. It's all online. Watch news, but also don't just watch a particular news program all the time. Get a little more diverse. See other sides of things out there. Because it's easily to get programmed and thinking that's the way it all is. Meanwhile, you got the truth maybe over there, but you failed to seek it. But that's a concern. If you were one of these countries who's been our allies, including NATO, NATO is gearing up things. Matter of fact, we used to lead NATO as far as military actions. Now NATO's military, I forgot the committee that they have, has now taken over it themselves. What's happening in our country right now, showing, we're cozying up to Putin over in Russia, Xi in China, our enemies, North Korea, Russia was always considered our enemies. And now our leader sees something different in them that he likes. Why is that? When they've always been our enemies. And guess what, folks? They don't have our best interest at heart. Do you think they would like to see us fail? I do. What about you? Comment about it. Let's hear it. Because if we can become so chaotic, which is happening right now, and of course, I feel it's going to get worse, that's a time for them to do what they want to do. That's a time for even China to strike in Taiwan and the other islands over there, such as the Philippines and so forth. Think about that, folks. And if that's the case, think about this. If we don't get any intelligence from our allies because they can't trust us, it's like we're out on our own. And if we happen to get in a bad scrape, who's coming to our assistance? Who's going to give us the kind of information we need to be able to make intelligent decisions that can affect all our lives? Maybe even to the point of being drafted, bringing back the military draft. I remember when I was in high school, and boy, I was concerned about that draft because I knew a lot of people got drafted. There's one guy named Dodo. He had been in Vietnam and he was on the front line. Of course, he came home. He always wore his army fatigues, and a lot of us know people like that, right? And we used to be out on the porch listening to him tell us the stories. And I'm in the 10th grade listening, well, even before the 10th grade, listening to him tell those stories and about what happened over there. And I'm thinking, oh man, I don't want to go to Vietnam. Definitely don't want to go there, be drafted. Well, what if our allies abandon us because we're threatening them in so many ways, even to the point of possibly taking the Panama Canal back by force, or Greenland, if they don't want to sail, take it by force? Guys, come on. Words starts fights. Words can start a war. And don't think that our allies in NATO, they're all gearing up because they don't know what our president is going to do because he's so unpredictable, but he is aggressive. We've never seen anyone like him, period, in United States history. And when he say things, I've had my friends who's on, I'm an independent, so I'm not on the far right, I'm not on the far left, I'm right in the middle. But I've heard some of my friends say stuff like, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and I'm like, wow, I've heard that so many times from others. It's just like a repeating the message of talking points. And then I actually hear the truth. But a lot of us, including myself, we have a tendency to not even talk about it. But what if we get into a situation where we need good intel? If you're an ally the way our president is behaving right now, would you share that information with us? Think about that. Be honest. Because I'm pouring my heart out to you right now. I'm being as sincere as I know how. I'm an ex lawman and I retired from that. And our goal has always been about truth, honesty, facts, swearing us to the law. And now we're in a situation we don't know where it's going to go next, but it doesn't sound good, folks. Doesn't sound good. And the thing about it is, Colombia not wanting our planes to fly to drop off the illegals, and their president is talking strong against us. And then you got Mexico, their president, forgot the lady's name there, and she's really standing up to Trump. And also, the Panama president is standing up to Trump. You've got Canadians, the politicians there, they're all standing up. And of course, Denmark, Greenland, they are too, and NATO. We need allies, don't we? That's important in today's time because you're talking about weapons, not just the military weapons. Think about the United States. Our country was based off of weaponry. Everybody's got guns. Think about this. The United States got more guns, weapons in this country than you can combine all countries in the world. We're the wild, wild west built, baby. I've got guns, being an ex-lawman. My family, my friends, they all have guns, weapons, semi-automatics, and so forth. So people are talking about civil war. You've heard it. If there's a civil war in this country, how do you think that's going to look? Because people are not going back like the days of old when people didn't have much of anything. But now everybody's well armed. And that's something we need to quash right away. Don't let anybody talk you into doing such a thing. Because when blood runs like that and pain come down your street or in your home, no one wants to feel that. So that's something we need to quash right away, don't we? Executive orders being dished out left and right, raising a lot of concern for a lot of people. People are losing their jobs. Matter of fact, I saw something here just recently. Let me look here about doing away with a lot of departments within the federal government. And let's see, this is called the Council of the Inspector General on Integrity and Efficiency. And here's a letter that's dated January the 24th, 2025. Says right here, Mr. Sergio Gar, Director of Presidential Personnel, the White House. Dear Mr. Gar, I'm writing in response to your email sent to me and other inspector generals earlier this evening, wherein you informed each of us that due to a changing in priorities, your position as inspector general is terminated effective immediately. Now, of course, they're pushing back on that because they're saying this is illegal as to what's being done here. But if things continue to go the way they are and so much chaos continue to come down the pike, what about our sports? I'm a sports guy. I'm a sports enthusiast. What about the attendance in sports? Can you see that declining too? I can see it because the prices of things, if they go up the way things are going right now, you know, and people are going to be more conserved on what they want to put their money in. People are not going to be going places because they feel less safe. And then before you know it, the decline of sports, decline of a lot of things, prices go up. That's just my projection based on how I analyze things. Boy, I tell you, hate has been unleashed upon this country. I hadn't felt this kind of hate since the 1960s. You've got groups out there now feeling empowered. I want to feel peace. I want to feel happy. I want love. I want my kids, my grandkids to grow up where they don't have to worry always looking over their back or concerned. Don't you? Don't you? We're becoming less and less secure. The threat of our allies, as much as we try to stay out of politics, somehow it keeps pulling us back in, don't it? Saying goodbye to the United States as we've known it. None of us could have ever envisioned this. I love this country. How about you? So, what are your thoughts? What do you think is coming next? Because right now, in just a few days, a whole lot of hell has been unleashed. And you know it's not going to get any better. And the thing about it is, it's always been, when a person won in for the presidency, even though, we got the Democrats, we got the Republicans or whatever, but one president, then you become president for all Americans. And you can still implement your agenda, not to keep us so divided the way we're experiencing right now. I've seen it, with my neighbors. I've seen it with friends. And we're all one another because we don't know how people are going to react. Check this out. I went to a college Friday night where some of my people that I know, one of my guys I played college basketball with, got inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame. And I was sitting at the table with this guy who was from Mississippi. And I made a point. I'm not talking politics. My wife told me that too, but I knew that. I don't talk politics because it always brings out the worst in us. And I'm sitting at the table. It's about a table of 8, and there was a ton of people in there. And this guy was sitting next to me. We were talking sports, everything going good. Then all of a sudden, he brought up politics. And it was just for a moment. And he said something about those people based on the hurricane, what was it, North Carolina, South Carolina, and those people that died over there. And then he mentioned about Biden and do this. And he got upset. He got so upset. He stood up. Seemed like he was so angry, he was about to cry, and he had to walk out. And, you know, that was an uncomfortable moment for the whole table. And then later on, he came back in, I guess, when he had calmed down, and everything went smoothly. I act like nothing happened, you know. Got back and we started talking politics. I mean, start talking sports again, And but that's just how sensitive politics have become. It's ruining this country, guys. Will our allies share information with us? Think about that. Would you? If you feel you can't be trusted, and we need all the help we can get because things can't continue to go smooth forever. I think, they're talking about World War III and all of that stuff. Well, at least our current president talked about it. And it seems that we're heading in that direction. I hope not. Let's pray that it doesn't happen because I'm retired now, and I know my time is limited on this planet. And I must say this, I've had a stellar career. And then being in this country, if it's based on merit, if it's based on your education and your skill set, then yeah, you should be able to get those jobs, no matter what it is. But I don't I am concerned about that too. If we turn back the clock, sin is upon the land. And so that's why there'll never be anything perfect. But I must say this, since the 1990s up to just recent years, it's been the most perfect this multicultural society has ever been because we got to know each other. We got to laugh and socialize and eat with one another. And now we are at a point right now, to be honest with how I feel, clock is being reversed. Let's hope not. Let's not hurt. We don't need to feel the pain in this country. This country has gone through a lot already. And now here we are in 2025, and it seems like we're going in a direction that can be pretty violent. Because now, social media, when people say certain things, people get all sorts of threats, death threats, everything else. And that's what keep people quiet. And that's why things are going the way they're going. But when you get tired, if you ever get smacked in the face, the military draft just happened to be implemented because we're in a situation right now where we need to build up our forces because we've lost our allies. And can that happen? They're geared protecting themselves from the United States of America. It's not me talking. There's all sorts of articles out there on all of this. Matter of fact, I did a video called The Return of the Military Draft. And I've got some news articles in that. Watch that and check it out for yourself. And then hopefully that'll lead you into some other research in which, feel it for you, learn it for yourself. Don't just take what people tell you. Research yourself. And don't just go to one channel, but check everything out. See, being in law enforcement, when searching for evidence, gathering information, you don't just hear one side of things. You cover it all. You look up on every rock, even that rock you don't like. You look up on all of it to get to the truth of the matter and then present that information to the district attorney's office. And that's been my career, working closely with all divisions of law enforcement, the district attorney's offices, the district courts, state level, and trying to protect the public. That's what it is, the protection of the public. And also to help as many people along the way as we can, saving people from a life of crime, from a life of incarceration, if you're able. So I thought just to get on here today and express my concerns. Hey, I see my mentor Jane. Hello, my friend. Just tuning in. God bless you. Uh, Check out her channel, My Mentor Jane. She has a great niche, and a lot of you folks need to hear her niche because I know there's millions of women out there, definitely, and men too, but definitely needs to hear what she has to say. She's got a great professional program, and I think it'll counsel a lot of you. She is a professional, and I consider her a friend. So thank you for tuning in, Jane. And there's going to be more people that's going to be tuning in later on as this is being recorded. And all I can say is let's hope that we can get back to treating people with respect, that mutual feeling of respect for one another, to do what our God and Savior tells us what to do. Think about that. Show that love for one another, to bless one another. And you don't have to be mean about people in doing it. But right now, we're in some turbulent times ahead. But regardless of what we do, just remember this. You called yourself a child of God, obey the word. Seriously, obey the word. Don't just listen to what someone tells you because we want to believe what our leaders tell us, don't we? We consider them to be honest, honorable. But we're seeing a lot of that today, folks. That's not the case. So what can you do about it? Pay attention and talk to your representatives, your congressmen, and let them know how you feel. Because the way things are going right now, I think we all need to be a little concerned. And I'm not left and I'm not right. I listen to all sides. That's why I'm an independent. Robert Wilkins, aka Basketball Tall, go ahead if you would, give me a thumbs up. And that helps the algorithm. So it'll be able to share this live view with others as well. And if there's anything that you would like to say along the way, even though this will be recorded later on, where you can go back and look at it again and share it with others, share it. And hopefully enough people will watch and make them think just a little and see the direction in which we may be headed. And if you don't like it, tell your representative. Because too many people are jumping on that bandwagon and don't have courage. And one thing that I must say that I can't say I have courage, but I've done a lot of courageous things. Robert Wilkins, aka Basketball Tall. Go ahead, give me the thumbs up, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next time. And thank you, my mentor, Jane.